wait statements from Selenium are a group of methods that pause execution between statements depending on a condition. The condition can wait for a specified time before throwing an exception, or wait for the element before performing an action. There are many web applications that have dynamic content, so we must implement a dynamic wait method. An example of dynamic content is when an element becomes available after clicking a different element. Another example of dynamic content is when an element becomes available a few seconds after loading the page. Selenium provides more than one dynamic wait statement. Thread.sleep is not a Selenium wait method, although it causes execution to pause. It is not efficient because execution will stay asleep for the time we set, even if the element is ready for action. The next 5 methods are dynamic wait methods from Selenium: page load timeout, script timeout, implicit wait, explicit wait, and fluent wait. When it comes to page load timeout, we set the wait time for a page to load before throwing an error. Script timeout sets the wait time for JavaScript to execute before throwing an error. Implicit wait instructs WebDriver to wait for all elements connected to the driver. Explicit wait will pause execution until the time has expired or an expected condition has been met. We implement explicit wait by using the WebDriver wait class. Last is Fluent Wait. It allows us to wait for an element, check for the presence of an element, and ignore exceptions. Fluent Wait is extended by the WebDriver wait class. In this tutorial, I will demo 3 of these dynamic wait statements: implicit wait, explicit wait, and fluent wait. Let's start with explicit wait. All of the code will be on GitHub. The application under test is from LambdaTest. And on LambdaTest, you will see Selenium Playground. With this application, we're going to start by clicking the dynamic data loading link. On this page, the AUT has a note that says loading icon will be displayed until the request is processed. The loading icon shows up after clicking the Get New User button. Notice how the image, first name and last name, is dynamic because it showed up a few seconds after clicking the Get New User button. Go back to the home page and let's copy the URL. Then go to the IDE and create our class. First, create our class by right-clicking the package demo TestNG, new Java class. The name is dynamic waits. Start by writing WebDriver driver. I'm going to import WebDriver and also insert some lines. Next, we're going to start with our TestNG annotation, and that annotation will be before method. Public void setup is the name of the method. WebDriver manager dot Chrome driver dot setup is how we set up Chrome driver. Now we create an instance of Chrome driver with driver equals new Chrome driver. At this point, we have the option of maximizing the window with driver.manage.window.maximize. Now we load the AUT with driver.get, then paste in the URL. The last annotation for setting up and tearing down is after method. And this will tear down our test by using the Selenium method of driver of quit to quit the drivers. Now we have set up the method for testing, and we are going to tear down the test. Now we are going to start our test. The name is test explicit wait. First step is to click the link. So we write driver.findElement by link text. For now, I'm going to put in an empty value, but the method is click. Go to the application and inspect dynamic data loading. We see the DOM has dynamic data loading as the text. So I'm going to copy, then go back to our IDE, then paste the value. Next step is to click the button. And the button we're going to click is that Get New User button. Inspect. We see it has an ID value of save. So let's go back to the IDE to write driver.findElement by ID, then write save as the value for ID. The action from Selenium is click. Bingo. Now we must verify the image is displayed on the application after clicking the button. Go back to the application under test, and we're going to inspect the image. We see in the DOM that the tag is img for image. The parent element has an ID value of loading. So to find the element, let's write 2 / div, open and closing square brackets, at ID equals loading. And we must put the value between single quotes. We can also put the value between double quotes. Either way is okay, but I prefer single quotes. Now that we have found the parent element, and it's displayed by showing a yellow background highlighted in the DOM. Now let's find the image by writing 2 / img. Bingo. We have found the image. Copy the value and go back to our IDE. Now we're going to write by image equals by XPath. Paste in the value. That's all we need to find the element, but we also need to make sure the element is displayed. And to find and make sure the element is displayed is writing a dot is displayed. My bad. Let's find that on the next part, because if I would have made this as a web element, I could have done that. So let's find the element by writing driver.findElement and then pass in image. Now we are going to see if the element is displayed. Bingo. Is displayed returns a Boolean value with a result of true or false. So since it returns a Boolean value, let's assign it to a Boolean with the name like is image displayed. Bingo. Now, at this point, we must assert that the image is displayed on the application. Assert true. Is image displayed? If it's not displayed, let's write a message that says image is not displayed in the AUT. I want to show you what will happen if we do not include a dynamic wait statement. So let's run and watch this test fail. There is a failure because the dynamic image was not available before our test executed the assert statement. In the console, we see assertion error with our message. Image is not displayed in the AUT. Let's write the explicit wait statement before the is displayed statement. So I'm going to skip a line. Then write WebDriver wait. Bingo. Wait equals new WebDriver wait. Then we're going to pass in the driver dot duration with an option to pass in a time unit. So far in the IntelliSense, we see a time unit of days, hours, milliseconds, minutes, nanos, and seconds. We're going to use seconds. And the seconds we're going to use as the value is 5. The test will wait up to 5 seconds before throwing an exception, or wait until an expected condition. And Selenium provides many expected conditions. And we're going to choose visibility of element located. Then pass in image. Now the test should pass when we run. Let's go up and run our test and see what happens. Yes, it's good. The test passed. Next, we're going to look at Fluent Wait. On Selenium's dev website, we're going to see the Fluent Wait class, and it shows class Fluent Wait. And the subclass is WebDriver Wait. That means WebDriver Wait extends Fluent Wait. Let's go back to Fluent Wait. And we are going to use the sample code at the bottom. So I'm going to copy, then go to our test script. Go back to the home page. The test script begins with us clicking the jQuery download progress bars link. Then click the start download button. We see start and download, the current progress with the percentage, then complete with the exclamation point. Our test will poll the values until we see complete. The test script will collect each value when it polls the application. Therefore, our automation code will print all of the values until it shows complete. The menu items on the left have the same values as the home page. So let's inspect jQuery download progress bars. It has a link text of jQuery download progress bars. Next step, let's inspect the start download button. It has an ID value of download button. In the IDE, let's start our test, which begins with the test annotation, public void with the name like test Fluent Wait, driver dot find element by link text, and the link text name was jQuery download progress bars. I think it was lowercase bars, and we click the link. Next step is to click the start download button by writing driver dot find element by ID, and the value was download button, and we also perform an action of click. At this point, we're going to paste the sample Fluent Wait code, then take care of all of this red. Import wait, Fluent Wait, no such element exception. There are two no such element exception packages, but we will select the package from org.openqa.selenium. Import web element and function by selecting the first package, com.google.common.base. Now we are taking care of all of the red. The comment statements, let's update these also. We see the first comment states waiting 30 seconds for an element to be present on the page. That comment is referring to the with timeout method, which sets how long to wait for the evaluated condition. Okay, let me say that again to make sure I did not mess it up. The with timeout method is a method that sets how long to wait for the evaluated condition to be true. The next comment says checking for its presence every 5 seconds. This comment refers to the polling every method. This method says how often the condition should be evaluated. The ignoring method will ignore the no such element exception. Let's modify the sample code. I would have changed the polling every method to of milliseconds. Then pass in 100 so you can see the progress and complete message when it's running. Also the comment, change it from once every 5 seconds to once every 100 milliseconds. The next comment, well, the other comment is okay because I'm waiting 30 seconds for the element to be present. Let's keep that the same. Now, the next update is change web element foo. Let's change it to element. Therefore, the next one, I'm going to remove the return statement and write driver.find element by XPath. And I will come back and pass in the value. But for now, we're going to assign the value to web element and give it a name of progress. This will help us find the element, which is the progress bar. Okay, so we have that part done. Let's go back to the AUT so we can get the values. Click the start download button. And I'm going to inspect the progress. It has a div tag and a class value of progress label. The parent has an ID value of dialog. So to find this value or this element, let's write 2/div. Open and closing square brackets at ID equal 2 single quotes. Within the single quotes, let's write dialog. Now we have found the parent. To find the element we need, let's write 2 more /. Div, open and closing square brackets at class, because that's the attribute we need, equals the name of the class value, which is progress hyphen label. Bingo. We have found the element that we need. Let's copy the value. Go back to the IDE and paste the value. Now, at this point, after finding the progress, we want to get the text of each progress. So let's write progress dot get text. Assign the value to string progress bar text. The last modification is to write an if-else statement. Within the if statement, we write progress bar text equals complete with an exclamation point. That's what we're looking for. And we're going to write a print statement that says progress is complete. There I go. And we're going to return the progress. If this part does not shows complete, we add else. If it's not complete, then we're going to write a print statement that get the text of the progress. Bingo. And we are going to return null. Return null if the progress is not complete. Let's walk through the test script. The test script will wait up to 30 seconds for the timeout to expire or the condition to become true. The condition is when it is complete, show up on the page. Our code will poll every 100 milliseconds, which means it will continue checking the condition. The no such element exception will get ignored. We can also add more exceptions if we want to ignore more exceptions. Driver is the input parameter which helps find an element. The element is assigned to progress. We get the text, then assign the text to progress bar text. When progress bar text equals complete, the value is printed, progress is complete. Now, let's go ahead and run the Fluent test and see what happens. Bingo. I'm going to also adjust the application under test so you can see the progress when it prints. We see start and download and the current progress. At the end, it should show progress is complete. I didn't see it, but let's scroll down the the console and see start and download. We see the current progress and it stops at 98. And at the end, it shows progress is complete. That's it for Fluent Wait. Next is Implicit Wait. Let's transition to a different website to demo the Implicit Wait. The website is called the Internet, and the page is called Dynamically Loaded Page Elements. There are two examples, but we're going to click example 2. The next step is to click start. It's loading, and our test script will wait for hello world, then verify hello world. Let's go back and copy the URL. In the IDE, let's write our test. Starting with the test annotation, public void test implicit wait. Now, most people add implicit wait in the setup method before loading the page by writing driver.manage.timeouts. Now, at this point is when we see the other dynamic wait statements. Right here is already defaulting to implicit wait, but we also have page load timeout, which is the dynamic wait statement for waiting for the page to load. And we also have script timeout, which is the script timeout, which is the one for JavaScript errors. Let's go ahead and write implicit wait. And with implicit wait, we have the option where we're going to pass in duration.of. And this gives us the options of the time units: days, hours, milliseconds, minutes, nanos, and seconds. But we're going to pass in 5 as the number of seconds. However, we should not mix implicit and explicit wait statements. It will not happen all the time, but combining both dynamic wait statements can cause an unexpected timing problem. If I keep implicit wait in this setup method and run the explicit wait, then they would run together. And we do not want to perform that operation. Therefore, let's comment out implicit wait. And we're going to add implicit wait to the test annotation at the bottom for implicit wait. By writing driver.manage.timeouts.implicit wait. And let's put the duration of seconds on the next line. Bingo. The implicit wait operates like a global dynamic wait statement. Do you see how the driver is located at the beginning? Driver lives for the life of the driver object. That's when we're dealing with implicit wait. It's global because it starts with driver and it lives for the life of the driver object. Therefore, it will wait for every statement that begins with driver. That's why it is dynamic globally. So let's load the page by writing driver.get and paste in the value. That's the implicit wait statement. Now let's go and copy the URL and paste the URL for loading the page. Next step is to click the example2 link. Let's go back and inspect the link. We see it includes example2 in the text. So we can easily use the partial link text locator from Selenium to find this element. So let's write driver.findElement by partial link text. And part of the link text is example2. And we're going to click example2. After clicking example2, the next step is to click start. So let's inspect start. And we see it has a value of start, but the parent has an ID value of start with lowercase letters. But the text for the element we need is uppercase letters. So to find it, let's write 2 / div, open and closing square brackets at ID equals start in lowercase letters. But we need the button. So let's write 1 / button. Bingo. We found the element and it is highlighted. So let's copy the value. Then go back and find it by writing driver.findElement by XPath, paste in the value. And the action we need is click from Selenium. At this point, we wait for hello world. So let's go back and inspect hello world when it becomes available. A few seconds, bingo. Hello world. The parent has an ID value of finish. So the one we need is hello world with the text, and it has an H4 tag. So to find this element, we write 2 / div, open and closing square brackets, at ID equals 2 single quotes, and within the quotes we write finish because that is the value, and we found the parent. Now we must find the hello world of text by writing 1 / H4, bingo, and we found the element. I'm gonna go ahead and include the text by writing 2 brackets, square brackets, text, parenthesis, equals 2 single quotes, then write hello world, exclamation point. Now we found the text. Copy. In the IDE, we write by hello world equals by XPath, and we paste in the value. String actual message equals driver.find element, and the element we need is hello world, and we're going to get the text. Bingo. Now we have the method to get the text of the value. Next step is to verify that we have the actual message. Assert equals. We're going to pass in the actual message, and for the expected message, we're going to write hello world with an exclamation point. If the messages do not match, then we say message is not hello world with an exclamation point. And let's also insert a new line. Let's make this test fail by commenting out implicit wait. So to show you how it works when it have implicit wait and when it does not have implicit wait. Comment implicit wait, then run. The test failed as expected because it did not wait for hello world. Let's scroll the console and see if we have an assertion. We see no such element exception. No, it failed because it did not get the text of hello world. So that's why we do not have an assertion error. Now let's remove the comment and run again. This time the test should wait for hello world if 5 seconds was enough. It's waiting, it's waiting, and it's waiting. Bingo, the test passed because it waited for hello world and it passed without a problem. That's it for dynamic wait statements, explicit wait, fluent wait, and implicit wait. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video where we are going to cover the page object model design pattern. If you would like to learn more, then make sure to follow the blogs at www.LambdaTest.com/blog and community.LambdaTest.com. In addition to the blogs, you can earn a certification at www.LambdaTest.com/certifications. Get educated, get recognized.